I now call the East Lyme Zoning Commission regular meeting of July 11th, 2024 to order at 7:28 p.m. Could we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I am here. Mr. Peck?
Yes.
Ms. Markovitz?
Here.
Mr. Foley?
Yes.
Ms. Kalal?
Here.
Ms. Jet Harris?
Here.
Mr. Liska?
Here.
Oh, okay. Ms. Sisko? Ms. Uhas? Welcome, everybody. It's good to have a full crew. Mr. Mulholland texted right before the meeting that he could not be here tonight, but we have Ms. LaRocco, our recording secretary, and our ex officio, Mrs. Hardy. We do have on the agenda an executive session tonight. Our attorney has suggested that it be the 6 sitting members only, along with the 3 alternates and himself and Jessica. So if we could have a motion to go into executive session.
I make a motion that we go into executive session.
I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Everyone else will need to leave the room.
Sure.
Please.
Yeah.
We'll wait for Jessica to cut the recording and the... No problem. Okay, we'll continue with our first public hearing tonight. It's the application of Ricky Au for Spice Club for a renewal of special permit for outdoor dining at 239 Main Street, Niantic. And if you wouldn't mind reading Mr. Mulholland's memo.
Which one is the memo? This one here. Okay. Memo to East Lyme Zoning Commission from William Mulholland, zoning official, outdoor dining renewal, 239 Main Street, The Spice Club, dated July 10th, 2024. This application is a renewal for the existing outdoor dining area at the Spice Club restaurant in Niantic Village, which the commission may recall approving. The patio location, tables, and chairs will remain the same. The only change would be the addition of a string of lights that has already been installed. These lights provide an ambient background illumination which provides a minimal level of light. Because the lights have not been previously requested, they would need to be included in any approval.
Is the applicant here tonight? No? Okay. Does anybody in the audience have anything to say for or against his string of lights? Any questions by the commission?
No.
Basically, he forgot to put it in when he first brought his application in, so it's just an amendment.
I move then to approve the application of Ricky Au for Spice Club for a renewal of a special permit for outdoor dining, including strings of lights at 239 Main Street, Niantic.
Oh, we're not, you know what, we need
Oh, I beg your
to
pardon.
meet,
I'm sorry.
to wait for the regular meeting. But,
I apologize, I'm sorry.
oh, that's okay. I was right there with you. So I think we can move on now to our next application. It's the application of William R. Sweeney Esquire for proposed text.
Hold hold on. I move to close the public
Is
hearing
there-
for the Spice Club.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I think that was all 6 of us. Next, we have the application of William R. Sweeney Esquire for proposed text amendment to Section 11.1.4 of the East Lyme zoning regulations. If we could read Mr. Mulholland's memo.
You want me to do that?
Oh, go ahead.
Memo to East Lyme Zoning Commission from William Mulholland, zoning official, proposed zoning regulation text amendment, section 11-1.4, dated July 10th, 2024. The applicant, Dennison Capital Partners LLC, is applying to amend section 11.1.4 of the zoning regulations. This section is a subsection of section 11, which regulates uses in the light industrial districts. Section 11.1.4 permits warehouse and wholesale storage, self-storage warehouses as an as-of-right activity. The applicant is proposing to amend this section to allow accessory outdoor storage to the section. It specifically proposed to add the following language, including accessory outdoor storage of motor vehicles, boats, trailers, and recreational trailers, provided that such outdoor storage is adequately screened from the road and/or adjacent properties. If adopted, this modification would only allow outside storage as an accessory activity to the primary activity of warehouse storage. Attorney William Sweeney is here representing the applicant and will give a brief presentation.
Next, we have a memo from CCOG.
I'm getting
This one. Here.
Okay. Via electronic mail to William Mulholland zoning official, Town of East Lyme Zoning Department, 108 Pennsylvania Ave, Niantic, Connecticut, 06357, dated June 3rd, 2024. Dear Mr. Mulholland, I am writing in response to an application for a regulation amendment for the Town of East Lyme. The application was received on 5/3/24. The application was referred to this agency pursuant to Section 8-3 of the Connecticut General Statutes. The proposed amendment would allow for accessory outdoor storage of motor vehicles, boats, trailers, and recreational trailers with screening in the light industrial district. Based on a review of the material provided, I have determined that the proposed amendment is not likely to have a negative impact on the intermunicipal impact. If you have any questions, contact me at 889-2324. Nicole Haggerty, AICP Planner 3, nhaggerty@ccog.org.
And I believe there's a memo from the Planning Commission.
I'll read that one. It's right
Thank
here.
you.
July 3rd, Ann Thurlow, Chairwoman, East Lyme Zoning Commission, Town of East Lyme, P.O. Box 519, 108 Pennsylvania Avenue, Niantic. Zoning referral, CGS 8-3A, application of William R. Sweeney Esquire, agent for Jasmina and Frank Paradise, LLC, to amend the sections 11.1.4 of the zoning regulations to amend permitted uses in the light industrial zone for the outdoor storage of vehicles, boats, trailers, and recreational trailers. Chairwoman Thurlow, East Lyme Planning Commission at its meeting of March 12th unanimously found the above referenced text amendment consistent with the 2020 East Lyme Plan of Conservation and Development in terms of economic development, as long as issues involving safety are addressed. If you have any further questions regarding this letter or the POCD, please do not hesitate to contact the Director of Planning, Gary Gaishel, at 860-691-4105. Sincerely, Kurt Scott, Secretary, Planning Commission.
Thank you. And I believe Attorney Sweeney, you have a presentation for us.
Thank you, Chairwoman Thurlow. Good evening. For the record, my name is Bill Sweeney. I'm a land use attorney and a partner at the law firm of Tobin Carberry over in New London. It's a pleasure to be back before you here tonight. I appear before you on behalf of Dennison Capital Partners, LLC, which is a local company which owns several self-storage facilities in the region through its affiliated entities, including the Storage Place, which is currently open at 5 Liberty Way here in Niantic. Joining me tonight in the audience is CJ Barty. He's one of the principals of Dennison Capital Partners. As you're aware, my client submitted a zoning regulation text amendment seeking to modify your section 11.1.4 of the zoning regulations, which would effectively permit outdoor vehicle storage as an accessory use to self-storage warehouses in the light industrial district. I would remind you tonight, as the Commission, that a zoning regulation text amendment is not directly associated with any specific project or any specific location, but is what we call one of general applicability. In other words, tonight's hearing is really focused on whether self-storage warehouses in the light industrial district only should be permitted screened vehicle outdoor storage as an accessory use. If this Commission chooses to adopt this amendment, my client, or quite frankly any other self-storage operator who owns property in the light industrial district, would have, in the future, have the opportunity to submit a separate site plan application for their property for review. As I mentioned before, through its affiliated entity, my client currently operates the climate-controlled self-storage warehouse at 5 Liberty Way. They obtained approvals from this Commission and Mr. Mulholland several years ago, successfully built that project, and it stands and is fully occupied today. We worked very closely with the town during that process. We're very pleased to report it's been a real tremendous success for the company. Last year, my client purchased another vacant parcel in the same industrial park, a parcel located at 22 Liberty Way, which is at the far rear or back of the industrial park. And due to the success of the first project, we're currently exploring the possibility of building an additional self-storage facility on that parcel. Within the national self-storage industry, there exists significant demand not just for indoor storage and climate-controlled storage, but also the outdoor storage of motor vehicles, boats, trailers, and recreational vehicles. This is a growing demand within the industry because many families, especially after COVID, have acquired larger recreational vehicles and boats that they don't want to store next to their house or on their residential property in neighborhoods. Many communities are actually encouraging self-storage facilities to offer this type of vehicle storage as it provides an option or an opportunity for residents to get these larger vehicles out of residential zones and residential neighborhoods where they can be parked for months at a time and sometimes, quite frankly, can be unsightly and cause problems with adjacent neighbors. Many regional self-storage facilities currently offer this outdoor vehicle storage as a service. My clients would like to do the same to remain competitive in the marketplace. In fact, a few years ago now, I came before the Waterford Planning and Zoning Commission with a very similar amendment in that town for a client who was seeking a new self-storage facility with outdoor vehicle parking. That text amendment was ultimately approved and expanded the Waterford definition of self-storage warehouses to include screened outdoor storage of vehicles. That project you may have seen, it's almost complete on Route 85 right now, and it should be done later this summer. Working with Mr. Mulholland, we've crafted a similar text amendment for your regulations that is fairly narrow and would apply only, again, to self-storage warehouses in the light industrial district. Under Section 11.1.4 now, self-storage warehouses are currently permitted by site plan approval. Our amendment would simply append additional language related to outdoor storage as an accessory use. I just wanted to make 2 points before I continue. Mr. Mulholland's report had a small error in it. He referenced language that was in an original draft of our regulation prior to submission. It was actually at his urging that we modified it, so his modification is not included in his staff report. I have a copy, and I can submit it for the record, of our actual application with the correct language, and it's more specific and more demanding. You wouldn't expect nothing less from Mr. Mulholland, but I just wanted to read it into the record because this is what the actual application reads. Under 11.1.4, the new section would read as follows. Warehouse and wholesale storage, self-storage warehouses including accessory outdoor storage of motor vehicles, boats, trailers, and recreational trailers, provided that such outdoor storage is fully screened from view by a building, fence, wall, shrubbery, or embankment not less than 6 feet in height. So Mr. Mulholland had asked for specific, measurable provision for that screening, not just adequate screening. So that is added, and if I could just submit this to the record of the actual application, just so there's clarity in the record in terms of what we asked for.
Excuse me, I need to interrupt. I just discovered tonight I have a conflict and I have to recuse myself from this application.
Okay.
I believe Ms. Susko is next, if we go in alphabetical order. Thank you.
The vehicular storage that's allowed by the text amendment covers motor vehicles, boats, trailers, and something called recreational trailers. That's a term of art that your regulations use. Recreational trailers cover the gamut of sort of recreational vehicles, RVs, and similar things like campers and camper trailers. So we're trying to use your language in the regulation. So the amendment that we propose and put forward would permit any existing self-storage warehouse or new self-storage warehouse, provided that it's located in the light industrial district, to seek a site plan approval to include outdoor storage as an accessory use, as long as it provides the necessary screening requirements. Mr. Mulholland felt it was important, as I said before, to add those minimum screening provisions so there's something measurable when an applicant comes in. And particularly, he thought it was important, and I agree with him, when the proposed location could be adjacent to a use that requires some additional privacy or separation. We think it was a good addition, and obviously we've adopted it in our proposal. Ultimately, though, from our perspective, we think this is a very modest text amendment. It's a minor text amendment, and it will allow our clients to remain competitive in the self-storage marketplace and offer a service that is, quite frankly, becoming an industry norm throughout the country. We think the screening requirement that has been added will minimize potential negative impacts to surrounding properties, and the limitation that this is only for the light industrial district certainly keeps this amendment very narrowly targeted and focused. Most importantly, though, and I think this is, in my mind, the best selling point from a planning and zoning perspective, communities that provide storage areas for these types of units outside of residential neighborhoods and in light industrial zones actually encourages residents to not park their vehicles in neighborhoods, but put them at facilities like this, and where you can avoid a lot of the neighborhood conflicts that sometimes arise from vehicle storage. We think the regulation that we're proposing protects neighborhood character, it decreases conflicts with neighbors, and it encourages vehicle storage toward more appropriately zoned industrial land. For those reasons, we believe the proposed amendment is in general conformance with your comprehensive plan of zoning and your plan of conservation and development. I want to thank you for your attention this evening. If you have any questions, but that's all I have for you tonight. Thanks.
I have a question. Overall, I think it's a great concept, but you mentioned a 6-foot tall fence or 6 foot tall. How tall are boats and RVs that would be stored there?
Yeah, so again, the idea is to screen the majority of it, and the problem with when you get higher than that, fences higher than that can become buildings, and trees that are higher than that are often difficult to plant. You go above, for instance, 8 feet, and it's very difficult to plant trees of that height. What we thought, though, is by requiring it by site plan and not just a straight zoning permit, either Mr. Mulholland or yourselves would have the right to say, hey, listen, what species of tree are you planting? How many trees are you planting? And I think here's the key, is that you must provide under the regulation, quote, fully screened from view. So it's not adequate, it's not partial, and so we're trying to find something that was reasonable to work with, and certainly I know for my client, we'll work with the commission if you want a different tree, or a tree, for instance, like a green giant arborvitae that is deer resistant and grows quickly. There may be places where, quite frankly, screening isn't that necessary, and there might be places where screening was really appropriate. But this gives the power to the commission to work with an applicant, I think, in that regard.
Any other questions?
No?
Anybody? Anybody from the audience want to speak for, against, neutral? Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Move to close the public hearing.
Yes, do you want to move to do that?
Oh, yeah, move to close the public hearing for the text amendment.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Abstain? Okay, 600. Moving on to the regular meeting. The first thing on our agenda was Duval Partners, but I believe we're going to... No, we're up here. We're right here.
Oh, thank you. Maybe a bad note.
We're going to have another executive session for that. So we'll move on to the application of Ricky Al for Spice Club for renewal of the special permit of outdoor dining for 239 Main Street. Is there a discussion?
We're talking about the little twinkle lights, right?
Yes.
I just want to make sure.
Street lights all around for everybody.
Does someone want to make a motion? I think they look great myself, but
Yeah, I move to approve the application of Ricky Al for Spice Club for renewal of special permit for outdoor dining, including strings of lights at 239 Main Street, Niagara.
I second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Thank you. Moving on, the application of William R. Sweeney Esquire for proposed text amendment to section 11.1.4 of the East Lyme zoning regulations. Any discussion on that?
I have a lot to say on that.
Oh, well, go.
Can I go first?
Go for it, of course.
Okay, so I understand there is a need, but on the other hand, this is also a seasonal use, so that by the time somebody gets around to claiming that it's a violation, all the RVs and boats and whatever have moved off the property, so there's nothing to screen. And I do take exception to the difficult to plant trees more than 8 feet. I've done it all the time, and I think that trees under 8 feet are cheap. And that's one way to save money and for the applicant to make money. I think this is a pathetic idea. I'm not supporting this, and maybe somebody can convince me otherwise.
Well, I think they said during his presentation that we could ask for specific landscaping and fencing. So I have absolutely no problem with this application. I drive through town and I see so many great big RVs parked in people's yards. It would be great if they had a place to go and store them. So I have no problem with it whatsoever.
I agree. I think it's actually a good idea. And since they'd have to come back to us for a site plan approval, I think we could, have input on how it is screened.
Well, that would be good, because 6 feet, in my opinion, is not enough.
It says no less than 6.
No less than, and they grow so fast.
Well,
It's crazy how fast they
Yeah.
grow.
Anybody else?
No.
I make a motion to approve the application of William R. Sweeney Esquire for the proposed text amendment to section 11.1.4 of the East Lyme zoning regulations.
I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? One opposed. Any abstentions? It passed 510. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, can you set an effective date for that regulation, if you don't mind?
Yes,
Yeah, published Thursday, next Friday.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time tonight.
thank you. And we can do musical chairs again. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the request of John Paul, is it Marine LLC of Garrick Marine
Gerwick
LLC,
Marine.
a waiver of the East Lyme zoning regulations, section 20.8, ownership requirement of access way. And I believe we have a memo from Mr. Mulholland on this.
We do. Yeah, it's this one.
Okay, memo to East Lyme Zoning Commission from William Mulholland, zoning official. Waiver request for the East Lyme zoning regulations, section 20.8, back lots, dated July 10th, 2024. The applicant, John Paul Marine, LLS of Gerwick Marine, LLC, is requesting a waiver of section 20.8 of the zoning regulations. This section provides regulatory controls for the creation of back lots. This section states in full, 20.8 back lots. Notwithstanding the minimum frontage requirements for each district, back lots are permitted in any zone. Lots created after August 9th, 2002 shall have a minimum of 25-foot frontage in an accepted or approved street and be accessible by a 25-foot wide permanent unobstructed access way of the same ownership. The ownership requirements may be waived by the Zoning Commission by a 2/3 vote of all members upon demonstration by the applicant that the physical features of the property preclude strict compliance with this requirement, and that the granting of the waiver will not have significantly adverse impact upon the adjacent property, the environment, or the public health and safety. The following additional requirements shall be met for the creation of back lots. A, the minimum lot at the building line shall be equal to the frontage requirement specified for the district. B, the area of the access way shall not be included in the minimum required area of the lot. C, the maximum length of the access way measured from the street line to the front building line of the back lot shall not exceed 1,000 feet. D, no back lots shall be created on the following streets: Route 1, 156, and 161, unless access combined with a driveway serving a lot which fronts on the street. Lots created using cluster open space design which have less than the required average frontage shall not be considered back lots as long as the average frontage requirement for the entire subdivision is met. Mr. Marine's application will comply with all the requirements of this section except for the ownership of the 25-foot frontage requirement for a back lot. This section authorizes the Commission to waive ownership requirements by a 2/3 vote. Such a waiver would allow the creation of a right-of-way from a street to a back lot, which would not need to be owned by the back lot. The waiver would essentially provide a frontage savings of 25 feet for the front lot, thus allowing the creation of a back lot if the front lot did not meet the minimum frontage requirement for its zoning district.
Thank you. Would you like to proceed?
Good evening.
If you could state your name and address.
For the record, John Paul Marine, Gerwick Marine, located at 191 Boston Post Road here in East Lyme. Ultimately, what we're looking at here is trying to create a rear lot so that the client can build a home for a family member. I've got a schematic here. I don't know if you can see it quite well from back there, but he has an abutter that is willing to sell him a parcel of land right behind his house that would be suitable to be built on. The problem is these are pretty small lots that are on Patagatsa Drive. The ability to put a 25-foot strip between any of those would impact the building setback lines. You can't get there from here. His abutter owns 7 Islandia, and I believe it is 21 Patagatsa Drive. And 21 Patagatsa Drive is the one that this parcel would come out of. Now, in 7, he has a right-of-way across 7 already to an existing workshop area that he's got here. What it would basically be doing would be extending that right-of-way or easement into what would hopefully become the rear lot. But before going to wetlands or planning, if we don't have this, we don't have that. And again, the minimum lot frontage has to be the same as what it would be in the zone regularly. The frontage would be over here on this particular lot. which would be in excess of what was 80 foot that would be needed. It is not included in any of the calculations. The distance is going to be somewhere around 380 feet from here to here, so that's well within that regulation as well. And it doesn't back up on 156 or 161, and it's not being created as part of a cluster. So again, there was no sense in spending all the time, money, and effort to try to create a rear lot if we can't get to it. And the abutter is willing to go along with this whole situation, but again, I don't want to spend anybody's time and money if we're not going to be able to achieve what we want to achieve. So that's pretty much what we're looking at.
Does anybody have any questions? I mean, basically, it's the same driveway. It would just be an easement instead of owned by the back lot.
It's pretty much extending something that's already there by about 35 feet.
Yeah. Any
I don't have a problem
questions?
with that.
I don't either.
The only thing that pops into mind doesn't really fall under our purview is would be title issues for the,
Well, again,
They ever said
the only way we can do this is if this waiver is granted by 2/3 of this board.
right.
And we still have to come back and go through wetlands. We still have to come back and go
Right.
through planning to get this, which would be a re-subdivision at this point in time. So, again, we got to get over this first one before we can try to move to the next.
I'm always a little bit reluctant to encumber the entire town with a regulation that's just intended to address a specific circumstance. I wonder if there's some other way that's a little more specific that we could address this particular issue.
If you got an easier way, I'm all, yeah.
I don't know either.
Norm, what do you think?
I see no problem with it. The planning board and the wetlands are gonna do their job, making sure they have water, septic. That would be my only concern, and it's up to them.
Yeah, that's right, okay.
So, but this is a large piece here, 77 acres?
No, no,
What are you looking at?
no, it's .77.
Oh, .77. I don't see the point, sorry.
Wish we had 70.
You wouldn't be here if you had that.
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of non-conforming rear lots in town that meet just these specifications, and as Mr. Foley says, what you do for one, you have to do for all.
These are your regulations that we're dealing with, and it allows you to do this as long as we meet this criteria, which I believe we do.
I believe he does too.
Is there anyone here tonight from the public that wants to speak for or against this proposal? No? Okay, if there are no any other questions, discussions, is somebody ready to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve application of John Paul Marine LLS for waiver of town of East Lyme zoning regulations, section 20.8 for the ownership access way.
I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Me.
One opposed, any abstentions? No, it passed 510. Thank you, good luck.
Thank you very much for your time this evening, very much appreciated.
Next, we have the approval of minutes for the 6:20 regular meeting.
I have read the minutes.
Do you want to take a couple minutes to look
No,
at
I've
them?
read them.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I wasn't here last time, I just wanted to be
okay.
aware of that.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstention?
Yeah, I wasn't here, I'll abstain from this one.
Okay. 501. Any old business? Subcommittee reports. Norm, I know you're still working on,
Well,
The mixed
Bill's coming up with the text for the amendment to the CA zone concerning mixed-use development.
okay,
I know
and
he's working on it.
all righty. And for affordable housing, we're just waiting for one person, Mr. Nolan, who is getting us a report on the sea spray condos out on by Liberty Way. That's the last piece of information. As soon as we get that from Mr. Nolan, we can send everything to Attorney Bleasdale, who will come and address the committee on where we stand on affordable housing. So that's all I have for that. New business on the floor by a majority vote. Does anyone have new business to bring up?
I just want to make a comment on public delegations. Obviously, I wasn't here last month, my bad. But I do have a problem with this land use terms because, you know, we have to be, as adults, okay to have people say things that maybe we don't like. But I think the townspeople deserve us to be open and honest, and I just want to say that I just disagree with the wording. That's all I have to say.
Do you feel that we're being unopen and dishonest?
In a way, yeah.
How are we being dishonest?
Because when someone from the general public comes up, they might not have a land use issue, but they might have an issue with the zoning board. And we are land use, after all, when you look at it that way. But I just wanted to put that on the record as my opinion. And nobody has to agree with me. It's just my opinion.
I just want to make sure I understand it.
Any other comments? I think we can actually move on to public delegation. Speaking of public delegations, anyone here tonight have any land use issues they'd like to speak on? Mrs. McGowan, come on down.
Yes, I'd like to be called Lisa McGowan, thank you. I appreciate that.
If you could please hold your comments to 2 minutes, that would be awesome.
Yes, no problem, thank you. Thank you again for letting me come. So I know that you touched on the affordable housing, and I had a few people, first of all, that wanted me to run for zoning since I've come to so many meetings. So I appreciate that for the people that asked me to do that. Quite a few people that I know wanted to know about the moratorium on the affordable housing, and I know that you just touched on that and that you were waiting for the figures. Is it 10%? How close are we in East Lyme to the 10%? Does anybody know? Are we waiting on that last little bit? Because we've been waiting and we've been waiting and we've been waiting. So does anyone up there know exactly what it is at this moment?
It's, I believe it's 6 point something.
It was
Oh, okay.
almost 7% last time we knew, but we don't know if that's accurate or not because we haven't gotten it
Yes.
back yet.
Okay, thank you. So I know that you probably don't want to include something from the day paper about Waterford, but I just was hoping that, you know, the people that I talk to, and I talk quite a bit about zoning. So thank you for your time, and it's Lisa McGowan, 33 Spinnaker. Thank you. Is that going to be the rule from now on, that I will get 2 minutes? Is that
It's
the rule
not-
for me? I'm just
We're not
wondering.
singling you out.
But everyone will get 2
late.
minutes? Is
It
that it?
depends on how long the meeting is. We
Okay.
just decide each time.
So when I get the minutes and the itinerary, did you want to let me know how many minutes I would get each time?
We don't know when we send the agenda
Okay, thank you so much.
out.
I'll prepare longer statements then, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Mulholland isn't here tonight. Ms. Hardy, do you have anything for us tonight?
I don't think anything that can't wait. I'll save it until the next meeting.
Okay, you'll keep us in suspense. I believe we had some switching with the planning committee.
I was supposed to go, I think, in June, but I wasn't able to go, so I didn't go.
And Mr. Peck, you went, I know you went for her, but did you go in July for Mr. Peck then, or?
No, nobody asked me
I
to switch.
reported, last
Okay.
meeting here, I reported on the meeting that I went to.
Okay. Well, if people are going to switch, it would be helpful if you could just shoot me an email. Sometimes Mr. Gaishel sends me things to give to the person coming.
Ah.
But I think we're back on track, and August 13th is Ms. Susko. And will you be attending that one? Okay, that's okay. Take your time.
Yes, I will be attending.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all we have tonight. Can we make a motion to adjourn?
I'm
I
so-
make
What is the date of our next meeting?
the 11th,
The
right?
next regular meeting.
The First.
August 1st, okay. Just want to make sure
Oh,
on that.
good, that clears up.
In that
the
case,
rest of
can I make a motion to adjourn?
Please.
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye, aye, aye. Thank you.